Hey, welcome back for the gameplay video of the uh, Tavra the Org Broker Minotaur theme deck. I tried making a Minotaur theme deck before the release of this card, and it did not work out very well. But the power level of this card plus the new Auric Interrogator really made this deck viable. Um, and is that actually the first viable tribal deck? Um, I can't think of any other very successful tribal decks besides this one. Huh. Yeah, so this hand's very good. Turn 1, 2, and 3 play, and a protect as well. This is as good as the hand will get. Um, Only thing that can be better is if we draw a turn 4 weapon and then a turn 5 Auric Broker. I'm not going to play that. Go ahead and attack him for 2, and then I'll play the Auric Bully. I'm not going to save up mana for a Protect because these units are fairly expendable, I would say. And if he does kill something, I'd rather he kill the Auric Bully because I like the Oathkeeper more than that. Okay, so it looks like we do need to play this Monument. I don't want to play the Auric Interrogator and being exposed to removal because this one I do care about. This one is actually a pretty important card. And also, I currently have no way to buff it, so playing it out as a 4-3 isn't that amazing. So let's hold it in our hand for one more turn to see what we draw. This deck is aggressive, but it's not like super aggressive, so I think we can afford to wait. So the question is, do I want to use this Aegis Protect to trigger the False Prince so we can attack? And I think the answer is yes. We'll save the Vanquish. A deck like this, I imagine is going to at some point play a very large unit like Cerso, in which case we really do need the Vanquish to get rid of it. Okay, so we're gonna run it out there because we're not doing anything else, and I feel a little bit of pressure against a deck like this. We can't just sit there and do nothing. It's gonna get torched, isn't it? He's looking at it. Okay, so there's the Sandstorm Titan. So we remove it, and we'll attack for 7. He's probably gonna chump block at this point. No, it's not. Okay, so now we're in a little bit of trouble. We drew a lot of lands. We drew 6 lands and 5 cards. So 5 cards and 6 lands is not a good ratio. 7 lands. So now we're in a lot of trouble. I hope he attacks, because then we can at least race with him. But if he attacks and then casts another very large blocker, then we're in a lot of trouble. That's a... Oh, so unfortunately we drew 8 lands and 5 cards. That is a very scary ability. I'm gonna lose my... Let's see which one he kills. I think he killed the wrong unit, but that's okay. I don't think he can lose at this point. On his following turn, he's gonna be free to attack with Cerso and the Dragon. And I think I'm not gonna come back from this. Even if I draw Auric Broker, I can't brawl with the Cerso at this point. I'm too far behind already. Yeah, just gonna have to trade this and hope he doesn't have a torch. Okay, we're down to 9. I am gonna die to these 2 units next turn. What can I draw to not die? That's interesting. Yeah, so this card is 3 or 4 turns too late. Alright, my opponent's deck is very good, but man, his mana requirements are crazy high. His Crimson, whatever that thing's called, The dragon requires double red on turn 4, and then his Cerso requires double time and double uh, primal on turn 5, and then his Heart of the Vault requires triple red and triple time on turn 6. So my opponent's deck certainly worked out for him that game, but man, I can imagine so many games where he gets colored screwed. Okay, this hand is not too great, but not too bad. I mulliganed the first hand because it only has 2 lands in it, and one of those lands was not very flexible. I didn't want to take the risk of getting stuck, but this hand also only has 2 lands, but at the very least, this hand has a lot of 1 and 2 drops, and one of the 2 drops can get us a 3rd land. So I think this hand is definitely better than the first one. Alright. I'm definitely not going to kill that. I guess the question is, what do I cast? And if I attack? I think my Oathkeeper actually has more value than his Tanker Overseer. But that's okay. Let's offer the trade. It's always the risk that he plays like a land and a Beast Colors Amulet and make a 5/5. That wouldn't be that fantastic for me. I think for the sake of being mana efficient, let's play the Interrogator. Next turn we can Varus Favor something, play a land, and then play either one of these 2 drops. Don't imagine too many targets for Varus Favor in his deck, unless he also plays Oathkeepers like I do. Oh, he might play Vigilantes. Yeah, so my opponent might be using the other version of the Argenport list that just used Tavrod as a weapon finder and not worry about any of the units being Minotaurs. Okay, well that worked out fine for me. Let's just attack him for 2. I don't mind him using his Slay on my Interrogator because I have no way to buff it. And this is one of the cards that can kill the Auric Broker, so if I can get out of his hand, it's not too bad. But man, I only have 2 cards in my hand and my opponent has 6. That's a little bit worrisome. Ah, so I do have a target for the Varus Favor. That's great. Alright, so he's down to 2 cards. Let's get rid of this. And I'm not gonna use my Slay. I'm really worried about, like, if I only have 1 removal in my hand, and I'm clearly just gonna save it. Actually, no, that's okay. We'll offer the trade. I'm gonna save it for his Tavrod. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. I'm gonna mangle his name for a while until someone teaches me how to pronounce it properly. Okay, Impending Doom. I do need to get rid of this. It is quite large. Oh, perfect. Alright then. At this point, I'll just do this. And offer him to trade whatever he wants. Yep, that's fine. I'm still gonna keep the Slay here. I feel like he may have played the Impending Doom as a bait. Okay. Now it's probably worth killing. It's a 5/5. Okay, he's got no cards in hand. Now... no, let's do it later. So now I'm only attacking for 1 unit because it's the same amount of damage. And if he doesn't draw land, he can't attack. And if he does attack, I'm just gonna block. I mean, I don't mind trading this at this point. Okay, now it's a 3/3. Now I can't block. I'm taking 8. Maybe I should have slayed this. I don't know. Oh wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to slay this at this point. I'm taking a lot of damage. And I'll attack for 6. And if he draws a land and attacks with a 3/3, I will chump block it. Okay. Oh hey, it just turned 12 o'clock. It's almost time for sleep. Okay, let's play another game. So we're so far 1-1. The first game, the first game my opponent's deck was very powerful, and we drew I think 8 lands and 5 cards. I think that deck is certainly beatable. He didn't draw any super powerful removal spell that I can see. So if we had drawn the Auric Broker on turn 5, I think he would be in some trouble. But his draw was great, and he also didn't get color screwed, despite having crazy high color requirements on his deck. It's not a 2-color splash deck. It's not a 2-color deck splashing a 3rd color. It's like full-on 3 colors. I think that's not advisable if you want a consistent deck. I have 4 power in my hand. I'm actually thinking of seeing if this can become a Gem Blade. So let's hold on to this for a couple of turns. The risk is that on one of the turns I might need this non-depleted and it will be depleted, but I think that's a risk I'm willing to take right now. At worst, I can play this on turn 4. I have no 4 drops. Okay. I don't remember if this is the same player, but these colors certainly look very familiar. I'm not even sure I want to kill this. But if I don't, it's just gonna... yeah, I think I'll kill it. As long as I still hold 1 Vanquish in my hand, I do need to kill the first copy of Cerso. That's a very problematic unit. It's one of the very few units that can brawl with this very well. Okay, so... so now I think we will have to play this as a power source or attack. If he blocks, we trade. No. This is problematic. If he blocks, I can trade the Finest Hour for it. Nah, he won't block. Who am I kidding? Yeah, he's definitely not blocking. Yeah, so the question is, if I'm a little bit worried about what he gets for free next turn. So can I afford to just not save? Because he has the perfect mana. He can play any card in this deck minus the Heart of the Vault. So if he has Cerso in his hand, he definitely can play it next turn. This Crimson Firemaul is a problem. All right, I'm gonna let it hit me, because letting it hit me, I mean, the top deck of his card could be like a Temple Scribe, right, or like a Amber Acolyte, right? So let's just hope it's not like a Heart of the Vault or something. Okay, Titan is fine. Titan we can beat. In fact, the Titan kind of screws him over because the Crimson Firemaul can't attack anymore. If he attacks, I'm just gonna double block with these 2 smaller units. And if he has a torch, he can blow me out and 2-for-1 me. But I'm definitely not blocking with the Auric Broker here. Okay. I'm still gonna attack, by the way, because actually, hold on. If I Giant Growth it, it becomes a 10 toughness. So if I vanquish one of these, he needs to block with all of his units. You know what? I'm okay with that. And then we'll swing with everything. He has to triple block this or it survives. So if he's getting greedy and he wants to trade his Amber Acolyte here, for example, then he's in a lot of trouble. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. See, that's another thing too. The Orc Broker, I find that my opponent got greedy. He's in so much trouble. He often chains into himself, which I think is pretty crazy. Yeah, I killed the dragon because if I kill the Sandstorm Titan, the dragon can actually fly over, which I kind of don't want him to do. Because I'm not afraid of the Sandstorm Titan with this deck. Like if I put the Bloodletter onto here, like what is he gonna do, right? Yeah, he can eat the Bailiff for free if he wants to. Actually, no. Let's just attack with it. Like, how is this deck ever gonna beat this card? None of his removal works unless he plays Polymorph. It's completely out of burn range. Nothing in his deck's gonna kill this except for Polymorph. That's the only out. Even if he has the Purify, which silences it, a 15-10 is still big enough to win the game. Yeah, he just concedes because this card is not beatable at all once you attack with it once. And if he survives the attack. It feels pretty disgusting when you play him and then you attack with him and you draw another copy of him. It just feels filthy. I love the card. I've always been a big fan of Argenport even before this card was released. As you can see from my channel, I've done a lot of Argenport decks. So this is perfect for what I like, but I do think objectively this card is way too powerful. They need to find a way to tone it down a little bit. Maybe get the weapon or the Minotaur, but not both. But that doesn't solve the whole problem because then everybody would just run him in Armory instead of a Minotaur theme deck. Okay, we have no 2-drops and no 1-drop. That's a little bit alarming. Even if we draw power, all of our early game plays are not good. We don't want to use Slay, and we have nothing to put the blood letters onto. So we need to draw. We need two conditions to be met for us to win this game. We need to draw power, and we need to draw things that we can play with power. Okay. So we got the first condition. I think at this point, maybe if I can just draw 2 more power back to back, that would be pretty good. But this hand is very poor. That's fine. If my opponent plays a turn 5... Oh, hey, I am actually pretty lucky. Alright. There's not too many cards in my deck that I cannot cast. So basically, if I draw a land, I would be able to play the Auric Broker. If I don't draw a land, I would be able to play pretty much anything I drew. So now we're into a bit of a dangerous territory. He can play his Tarot first, and yeah. And the problem is, I can slay it, but he's gonna be able to have mana to play Smuggler Stash next turn. And if he has another copy in his hand, he's always 1 turn before I do. And the problem is, as soon as he attacks with it, any weapon he gets is going to be able to kill mine. So he has a significant advantage over me. Yeah, he can draw basically any weapon and it would be able to kill mine, and I don't think I can come back from that. So what decides this game is the fact that he went first, or sorry, he hit his land drops and I didn't, and he played his first. That's kind of how absurd these games are. It's whoever plays him first, and whoever attacks with him first, that's most likely going to win. Like, isn't that kind of crazy? So he's probably, actually, I have no idea why he would play the maiden first, because what if he draws a Auric Hammer right now? He won't be able to... I'm not going to block because he may have a torch. But what if he drew a Auric Hammer? Okay, well, he didn't. He drew a Sword of Icaria, which was good enough. Yeah, see, that's just crazy powerful. And because he went first, and because he got to attack first, I'm afraid I will most likely lose this game. The good news is he only hits the weapon draw, but he doesn't get a unit out of it, so... If he had drawn another Tavrod off of his attack, then I'm definitely gonna lose this game. So he gets it back, alright. I do have one more turn before he can play it. But this Sword of Icaria, though. Let's see if he uses it to kill my Auric bully. No, he doesn't need to. He has a torch. So that means I can't play this because the Sword of Icaria is still in his hand. Yeah, I have no way to win because my early turns did nothing. Yep. This game is definitely lost. Having more weapons like this certainly doesn't help. So the drawback to playing 8 weapons is that you sometimes run into variants like this, where you draw all the weapons but none of the units. And that is the price you pay for playing this deck. And you can't get away from that, so we're just going to have to accept that variance, that it will happen, and not get tilted by it when it happens. Okay, let's do one more game, make a set of 5, hopefully finish it 3-2, and then I will end the video. I will continue to play test this deck some more, tweak the numbers a little bit, and maybe next time I can come up with a better version, a more fine-tuned version, and I'll make a few more gameplay videos of it. But yeah, I've played quite a few games actually against armory lists just like that one there. I think I played Buckwheat, who was ranked number 2 just an hour ago, right before I made the videos, and he had a deck that was very similar, and it was also very difficult to beat. He went Tavrod on turn 5, Tavrod on turn 6. I killed them both, and then he Smuggler smashed them both back, and I killed another one, and then he Smuggler stashed that back again, and at that point I exhausted all of my resources, and I couldn't keep up with it. I have a pretty strong feeling though, very soon on the forums, on Reddit and stuff, there's going to be a lot of people complaining about this card. It is just too dominant. Alright, that's going to hit me. I can't do anything about it. Is he going to... If I was him, I wouldn't bother killing this, unless he has nothing else to do. The question I have is, do I sit this back to block this outlaw? So many things can go wrong. Oh, he has a Varus favor, so he kills it. So the decision is out of my hands. I'm almost certain he has a better unit to play next turn, but I think these Warcry triggers has to stop. Especially because I'm not guaranteed to draw a land. If I don't draw a land, I have no plays next turn. Yeah, that's much more tolerable. Okay, so that's great. As long as this doesn't die, I guess it's pretty good. The new change to his summon ability is oh, okay, he's dead. It's pretty nice. I don't actually remember. I think before you... Oh, no. Before, you can also target your opponent's units. It's actually pretty good to be able to target your opponent's units. You can get rid of Aegis on units. So now we're going to be dead, I think. If he plays another queen, that's 12 damage. Nope, 6 damage. Okay, that's kind of underwhelming. Alright, this is actually a pretty good draw. I'm pretty sure I'm dead, but this is probably my best draw. It's probably better than a Lan and Tevra, because I think he can just punch through. Oh no, I am so dead. Am I? 5? Yeah, I'm so dead. This is, no matter how I block, it's 8 damage. That's right. I am dead. That's too bad. We only have 2 Finest Hour in our deck, and we only have 2 Protect in our deck. So even when it comes to variance, this is pretty extreme. So if you take a look at my deck, I have 28 units, and I only have 2 Finest Hours and 2 Protect, and most other spells are removal spells. In fact, every other spell in my deck is a removal spell, and all of them would have been good that game. I think the fourth game where I drew a lot of weapons, that's not too unusual because I do have 8 copies of it. I can totally see some games where you get the short end of the stick and just get all these weapons. But to get both my Finest Hour and both my Protect, and also getting kind of mana stuck is really unfortunate, because at the very least, if I didn't get mana stuck, I could play my cards 1 turn later and hold up the Finest Hour and Protect, which would be really useful. But as you can see, we didn't have any units, and we just end up with a bunch of conditional cards. But between Finest Hour, Protect, and 8 weapons, that is 12 conditional cards in our deck, and that is the reason why we have these variances. And going forward, what I may consider doing is taking out some of these conditional cards. I think Protect and Finest Hour may not be that necessary. The more I play, the more I realize they're good, and when I play them, they're decent, but I don't feel like the games where I played them, I needed them to win. So I think the next version is going to have less conditional cards, maybe tweak the number of weapons a little bit, and perhaps even add in some actual relic weapons. The reason why I didn't play with relic weapons now is because if you have an active Auric Interrogator, it damages yourself, and you actually kill your own weapons. And this is why I think Interrogator and Rune Hammer is a nombo. But perhaps I can think about other kinds of weapons that has a little bit more toughness, so I can at least use it for a couple of turns before it dies. But anyway, I think this deck is really good. I think I have some fine tuning to do. For example, reducing the amount of variance and by removing some of the conditional cards. But I think this deck is very good. I'm definitely gonna continue working on this, and I will update another video when I have it. As always, thank you for watching.